Welcome back to Ancestry Lands, where we talk land ownership, self-reliance, and how to live large on a small budget. And that new fancy gear, it costs an arm and a leg, sometimes two arms if it's branded. But fear not, my friends, because today we're going to talk about how to outfit your homestead without emptying your wallet. That's right, we're going thrifting. Now, I'm talking about finding those diamond-in-the-rough treasures that'll have you living the good life, the old-fashioned way. First up, cast iron cookware. Last week I found this rusty old skillet hiding behind a stack of mismatched plates. $5 and a little elbow grease later, I had myself a kitchen superstar. Let me tell you something, these old cast iron pans, they're indestructible. They can handle any heat, they distribute it evenly, and with a little love, they'll last you a lifetime. Probably even outlive your great-grandkids. And let's not forget the flavour. That cast iron seasoning adds a depth of flavour you just can't get with those newfangled non-stick pans. Now, when you're out there on the hunt for cast iron, don't be afraid of a little rust. That's just character. A good soak in vinegar, some scrubbing, and you're good to go. And the best part? You can find these babies for a steal. I'm talking a couple of bucks at most. Compare that to the price of a new one and you'll be doing the happy dance all the way to the checkout. Remember, a well-seasoned cast iron pan is a homesteader's best friend. Okay, so one man's trash really is another man's treasure. These old glass jars are gold. I must have like 50 of them by now. They're perfect for canning, fermenting, storing dried beans. Heck, I even made DIY solar lights for the patio. Every time I pick up a new one, my wife just sighs, but I think she gets it now. You see, these jars, they represent resourcefulness. Back in the day, folks didn't just toss things out, they reused and repurposed everything. And that's a spirit we need to bring back, especially on the homestead. Plus, have you seen the price of mason jars these days? Highway robbery, I tell you. Now, don't just limit yourself to the mason jar aisle at the thrift store. Check out the glassware section too. You'll be amazed at what you can find. Old pickle jars, pasta sauce jars, even fancy olive jars. Give them a good wash and they're ready for a second life. Let's be honest, new garden tools, they're pricey. But a wobbly wheelbarrow from the thrift shop, now that's a deal. A little tinkering, and it's been hauling compost ever since. Now, I understand the appeal of those shiny new tools with their ergonomic handles and fancy features. But let me tell you, there's a certain satisfaction that comes with bringing an old tool back to life. Plus, it's a whole lot easier on the wallet. When you're looking at used tools, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Give them a good inspection. Check for cracks, rust and loose parts. If it's just surface rust, a little steel wool and some elbow grease will have it looking good as new. Remember, a tool doesn't have to be pretty to be functional. Some of the best tools I own are the ones I've rescued from thrift stores and flea markets. Now, this one's fun. I picked up a rickety old ladder, which is now a vertical herb garden. Found a side table? It's a potting bench now. My favourite might be the old door I transformed into a dining table. With thrifted furniture, you just have to look beyond the scratches. See, most folks, they walk into a thrift store and see a chipped dresser or a wobbly chair and they think, trash! But not us, homesteaders. We see potential. We see a blank canvas just waiting for our creative touch. A little paint, some sandpaper, maybe some new hardware, and you can transform that flea market find into a statement piece for your home. And the best part, it's way cheaper than buying new furniture. Plus, you're giving these pieces a second chance, keeping them out of the landfill. So next time you're out thrifting, don't just walk past the furniture section. Take a closer look. You're probably thinking, why do I need someone else's old blankets? Well, let me tell you. Last winter I found a stash of moth-eaten wool blankets for pennies. After a good wash and patch-up, they've been indispensable. These old wool blankets, they're like gold. Back in the day, they made things to last, and these blankets are no exception. Sure, they might have a few moth holes or a little wear and tear, but that's part of their charm. A little darning here, a patch there, and you've got yourself a warm and cozy blanket that'll keep you toasty all winter long. And don't even get me started on the durability. These blankets can withstand just about anything: mud, spills, you name it. So next time you're at the thrift store, don't pass up those old wool blankets. Give them a second chance, and they'll reward you with years of warmth and comfort. I'll never forget the day I came home with a crate of mismatched bricks. My wife thought I'd lost my mind, but now those bricks are a fire pit, a rocket stove, and a raised garden bed. You'd be amazed what a little stack of bricks can do. Now, I know what you're thinking. Bricks at a thrift store? But you'd be surprised at what people donate. Sometimes you can find a whole pallet of bricks for next to nothing. You can use them to build a fire pit for those cool autumn evenings, create a sturdy foundation for a shed or a greenhouse, or even build a beautiful retaining wall to terrace your garden. The possibilities are endless. And don't forget about those broken bricks. They're perfect for drainage in your garden beds or for creating a rustic pathway. So keep your eyes peeled for those stacks of bricks at the thrift store. Next, we're on the hunt for vintage kitchenware. There's just something special about using old-school tools. I found this hand-cranked egg beater that honestly outperforms anything electric I've ever used. Plus, they're built to last. These vintage kitchen gadgets were made with quality materials and craftsmanship, not like the flimsy plastic stuff they sell in stores today. Keep an eye out for vintage rolling pins, wooden spoons, graters, and even old-school pressure cookers. These tools have stood the test of time for a reason. They work, and they add a touch of vintage charm to your kitchen. So next time you're at the thrift store, take a stroll down memory lane and see what treasures you can find in the kitchenware aisle. Serious about homesteading? Get into canning. Thrift stores are gold mines for canning supplies. Pressure canners, water bath canners, jars in all sizes. Just make sure to check the gauge and seals on those pressure canners and always buy new lids. Now I know what you're thinking. Pressure canners? Isn't that a little dangerous? Well, not if you know what you're doing. Pressure canning is a safe and effective way to preserve your harvest, and it's a skill every homesteader should have in their arsenal. But pressure canners can be pricey. That's where thrift stores come in. You can often find them for a fraction of the cost of a new one. Just be sure to give them a thorough inspection before you use them. With a little care and attention, you can score some amazing deals on canning equipment at your local thrift store. I'm no seamstress, but thrift store fabric is a homesteader's best friend. Curtains, produce bags, patches for my work clothes, the possibilities are endless. And nothing beats the day I scored a box of vintage buttons for $1. Now you might be thinking, sewing? That's not for me. But listen, even if you've never threaded a needle before, having some basic sewing skills can come in handy on the homestead. And thrift stores are a goldmine for fabric and sewing supplies. You can find everything from old curtains that can be repurposed into reusable shopping bags to scraps of fabric, perfect for patching up clothes or making quilts. Don't forget to check the button bin. You can find some real treasures in there. Vintage buttons, unique fasteners, and even old zippers that can give new life to your projects. So even if you're not a master seamstress, a little bit of fabric and some basic sewing supplies can go a long way on the homestead. Here's the most important find of all, knowledge. Yep, survival and homesteading skills, preserving food, purifying water, and building shelters aren't just for extreme survivalists. This knowledge can save you money, give you confidence, and connect you to old-school resourcefulness. Now, you might be wondering, where can I find this knowledge? Well, my friends, the answer is everywhere. Libraries are full of books on gardening, preserving, DIY projects, and everything in between. And don't forget about the internet. There are countless websites, blogs, and YouTube channels dedicated to homesteading and self-sufficiency. But here's the thing about knowledge. It's not just about reading about it, it's about doing it. Get your hands dirty, experiment, and don't be afraid to fail. That's how you learn. Every mistake is a learning opportunity. Talk to experienced homesteaders, join online forums, and attend workshops. The more you learn, the more confident and self-reliant you'll become. Thanks for tuning in to Ancestry Lands. Remember, you either own property or you're owned as property. So get creative, get thrifty, and make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you next time with more ways to live large without breaking the bank.